It's my first look at the running back position for NFL Week 7, and we're starting right now. So the running back position for Week 7, I do think that this one's, for me, I'm almost always trying to get volume, right? So this is one of the positions where I don't get super cute. We'll try and get a little bit more in depth just for this first look, of course. But Leonard Fournette, again, he's finally at 7K. I guess we can say that. 7K for Leonard Fournette. I feel like they were kind of struggling to get him all the way up there on DraftKings. But on the road against the Cincy team, that's been the worst team in the league against the run. We could pretty confidently project Fournette to get his anywhere from 22 to 26 touches. Again, had kind of a more of a floor game last week. Still was very, very reasonable for sure. So interested in him against Cincy, of course. Not a lot else kind of to say about Fournette, but I will say one of the things that I really value at the running back position. Let's circle back to things that I think are super important at the position. Number one, your targeting volume, but for me, I'm targeting elite volume guys that are active in the passing game as well. So I'm looking for these guys that, of course, have a high floor for touches, but also these guys that are much more active in the passing game as well. So that's what I'm never really going to land on a guy like Derrick Henry. I just think that he's probably a fine season-long play. I just think in DFS, like, you don't really have to mess around with these guys. It's just my opinion. For that guy to completely bury you, he's got to hit the bonus. He's got to double dong. He's got to get 2 touchdowns at that price. So he's 5,800. I get it. If you really wanted to go there, it's not for me. So one thing that I also think is really important at the running back position, something I'm looking at each and every week, total yards over the last 4 games. So this is almost a way to bake in a little bit of efficiency as well, but yards from scrimmage, it's going to quantify these guys that are pluses in the receiving game as well, even a little bit better. So again, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Chris Carson, kind of leading the way in that regard. I certainly think that all 3 of those guys are squarely in play again. So let's look at a couple of these other guys that are. Let's dig a little bit deeper. So Dalvin Cook is someone that I played on my main team last week. He's at 8K, so they did price him down at least a little bit. They're at Detroit. The team total is not great, but if everyone wants to just jump off of Dalvin and just anoint this Vikings team as just this high-flying pass attempt offense all of a sudden, I'm not ready to do that yet. I think that Dalvin still probably deserved more, probably hit his floor last week as far as his receptions. Like, they didn't really need it. They played from ahead most of that game, and they actually targeted a kind of weakness of a defense for a change in Minnesota, so they went after Philly through the air, which made a ton of sense. Detroit is a team, they are below average against the run. I don't think that kind of stuff really matters for Dalvin Cook, though. I think he's going to see enough volume to be totally fine in fantasy. It seems like a week where we don't have Christian McCaffrey again, which isn't great. Well, it remains to be seen kind of what we get with Saquon, but as of now, I only have Saquon projected for just over 17 touches. That might be even a little bit aggressive, but yeah, I think that's someone that we'll be touching on for sure at some point. See if I missed anything kind of in the chat. Carson and Fournette, big outliers. Yeah, I think they're very reasonably priced, right? Chris Carson at 6,500 at first glance. That seems like a smash spot to me against Baltimore. Again, if people just think that this Baltimore team can't be had, yeah, I think that Carson makes a ton of sense. A guy that's been active in the passing game quite a bit as well. I don't think he gets enough credit for that, and I probably haven't given him enough credit for that. Even just like thinking back to last week, he was in my pool until very late, and that's something that I don't take for granted. My pool is very small at running back typically, so for him to have been in consideration and not have gotten there, a little bit frustrating for sure. But this guy has over 22 touches on the ground 3 straight weeks, and he's got 4 targets in 2 of the last 3. So I think that, again, last week, 4 catches, 35 yards, like that's something that he could give you. He's going to be active in the red zone for sure. I don't know if we'll have to keep an eye on Penny's status, but as of now, I think Chris Carson looks like he's in a smash spot at 6,500 on DraftKings. I love that. I definitely prefer him to someone like Derrick Henry if you're thinking about paying down. Yeah, Steve, good call in the chat. Steve Boyton, 27 play total. Like, I think that really stands out for me for some of these volume guys. Yeah, I'm in on Carson. It sounds like Steve. I know you played Carson last week, man. So I don't need to hear that from you again. Let's see. I'd worry about Barkley in his first week back. Dalvin feels risky based on how much they got Mattson involved last week. Yeah, that was beyond tilting. What'd they give him? Like 12 touches last week? I have to look at this. 14 rush attempts for Alexander Mattson for the Vikings. Like, I don't know. And he got 4 in the red zone as well. That is beyond tilting for someone that paid up for Dalvin last week. Yeah, so that's something. That's a really good point, man. We'll have to kind of look at that for sure. Wish DJ didn't have to share. Yeah, DJ is a guy that I almost always probably play too much just because I think he's really talented through the air, of course. I try and put my Arizona biases kind of aside whenever possible. But last week probably would have been a spot to kind of jump back on him, even though he had that injury he was kind of battling through. So, yeah, 7,800. I mean, you're not getting a discount for this guy who, I mean, it's very, very possible that he sees under 20 touches. He's seen it under 20 touches in plenty of games this year. Let's see what he even got last week. I know he got there as far as the touchdown department, but yeah, 12 rush attempts. I mean, he's still like, I would be extremely interested in David Johnson, like 8 targets. I mean, last week, 6 catches. I mean, he got a touchdown on the ground and through the air. I would just be way more excited about him if he was like closer to 7K. I don't know. It just seems like a spot where at 7,800, I know it's the Giants. I get that. It's a plus matchup. I don't know. The volume just doesn't seem like it's been there with DJ so far. So that's kind of my original kind of take on that. Touches came when ice in the game. Yeah, that's possible. If Detroit wants to play them a little bit, it will play them a little bit closer. It is a division game, so I can't see them just like completely scaling back. I mean, Cook, but maybe they have hopes of maybe going a little bit deeper. It's a terrible division, right? So the Vikings are still very much in it for sure. With no Kirk, DJ's the number 1B receiver. Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. We'll have to keep an eye on Kirk. Does it look like Kirk's not playing? I haven't looked a ton at the news yet for this week. Usually there's not a ton out by Tuesday anyway that really matters. Was banged up, still got 8 catches on Sunday. That's a good point, man. Yeah, maybe if he gets healthier, that's the argument for DJ, right? Just because maybe he starts to see a little bit more of that. So as far as some of these other guys that are going to see good volume through the air, I still think someone like Tariq Cohen is super thin. But Austin Eckler, 6,200. I mean, we saw what he did last time. I guess he's probably too expensive for a guy that we can only... I mean, can we really project Eckler for even 15 touches? I don't think we can. Alvin Kamara, someone we haven't talked about, I guess. I mean, the Chicago team, I mean, they're middle of the pack as far as the matchup's concerned, if that actually matters for someone like Kamara. But just if looking at these guys that are going to see a lot of touches, Kamara's probably going to get the most catches of all those guys. It scares me with the ankle injury for sure. It's not something that I love to see. And I probably have said this every week, but I still believe it's true. If Teddy Bridgewater is just going to keep throwing these little dink and dunk passes, like Kamara's going to take one to the house at some point. He's too good not to. Even last week when he was banged up, 8 targets, 7 receptions, like he hasn't hit that ceiling yet. His usage is still pretty nice. So like I said about DJ, like I wish he was closer to 7K, but I don't think Kamara's terrible at 7,500. It's just crazy to kind of look that dead in the face with someone like Fournette, someone like Carson. Carson as a home favorite looks like a smash spot. It's a guy that I haven't played yet, like I said, but just the more I look at this, it looks like he's one of the guys that could be kind of the early week chalk at running back. As far as, let's take a look at some of these other guys that could be strong values. So, all right, let's talk about Josh Jacobs. 5K against Green Bay. We know Green Bay is going to kind of slow the pace down a little bit. I don't project either team for a ton of plays. But yeah, close to 20 touches for Josh Jacobs at 5K. Green Bay's a team that you can run on for sure. The usage through the air has just been inconsistent, right? Like I hate giving up a running back slot to this guy that, what's Josh Jacobs ceiling through the air? 4 catches. He hasn't even done that once this year. He had 3 catches last week or the last game. So I don't know. This is probably a play that I think people are going to talk themselves into at 5K. Sure. I think that if you really want to go there, probably not a play I make, but I could see the, I guess, appeal involved there. Joe Mixon, again, at 5K, I see them as pretty similar plays, to be honest. I don't know if there's really a ton of difference there. Like Joe Mixon, I at least have seen him be used through the air. I mean, he had 8 rush attempts last week. Like, it's not great. 3 targets. So we're probably still wait and see mode on Joe Mixon, but a couple of things that I was looking at earlier today do have his projection being decent for that price. I think that's kind of it. What do you guys think about Devonta Freeman? He's someone that wasn't on my radar last week, but 5,400. If you really did want to go back to him, and you think he's going to at least appear that they want to get him involved in the passing game, and he's kind of approach at least the 20 touches, he's probably okay against this LA team that like hasn't been good, like we said. I mean, Freeman got 19 carries last week, 3 targets. I mean, but he's been using the passing game more. I mean, he's had at least 3 targets in every game, but most games he's been kind of hovering around that 5 to 9 range. Like, I mean, he's been a lot. I mean, I've maybe have X'd him out of my pool too quickly at times this year. So Devonta Freeman at 5,400. I think I prefer him than Josh Jacobs. I'm not sure if that's going to be kind of a hot take by the end of the week. Just joined. What's up, man? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming back in here, guys. Thoughts on Gurley? Yeah, so Gurley is someone that I haven't played much. I don't think I haven't played at all this year. I just don't think that his price has caught up to the spot where I'm willing to go back there yet. 16 touches, 6,400. Yeah, I mean, if they think if he's going to get a little bit more involved, like I'm a little bit nervous with the injury, of course. But I mean, targeting a pass catching running back against Atlanta hasn't failed us many times over the past couple of years. So I could see Gurley being in play, but someone that I didn't ultimately end up really going with. So let's see here. It was 90% of the snaps last game he played. Oh, I was talking about Mark Ingram. Yeah, so let's talk about Ingram a little bit. He's another guy that I just like haven't been playing. So 6,600, I think he's drastically overpriced. He's still a guy that could get in the end zone a couple times, but I mean, just think about what he did in the last game, right? So Mark Ingram, 6,600 just seems like a terrible price for him to me. He got in the end zone. He had 13 rush attempts, 3 targets. I'm not playing him. I'm sorry. If he really wants to like do what he did a couple weeks ago and get his 3 touchdowns, fine. Like I can't see him approaching that game really the rest of the season. He had 4 catches in that game as well, but hasn't seen more than 2 targets since in a game outside of, I guess last week he had 3, but only 2 catches. So that's, I don't know. I think that the game makes sense. Baltimore against Seattle, I'm almost always going to skew towards Lamar. I guess I have a hard time playing a running back in a game where the quarterback is probably a favorite to outrush him in many games. So looks like I'm low on Tevin. Yeah, I don't play Tevin ever really. I just don't really want to go near a backfield that's pretty much split down the middle. Let's see where I even have him projected for touches. Yeah, 16 touches. No, I don't play guys like that. 5,600, terrible price for Tevin Coleman. He could get there. I won't be there for it. Like, why would you? I just don't understand the Tevin Coleman at 5,600 versus like even trying to get up a little bit higher to some of these other guys we've talked about. Like even Carry On at that point, like 5,100. I would much rather play Carry On. If you want to learn more about how to become a profitable daily fantasy sports player and better, start now by hitting the subscribe icon in the bottom right hand corner so you don't miss anything. I did post a first look at the quarterback position earlier today, so be sure and check that video out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.